That was the framing that was used by this faculty lynch mob. And I'll come back to that in a moment. That was an ideological dispute, which takes me to certain cognitive dissonance that I've always experienced with regard to the AAUP that I'll lay out in a moment. And I gave fair warning that I was going to say this. And he said, go ahead, great. Apparently because he concurs. I say lynch mob because the entity that was formed and was handpicked, and people who, on methodological, disciplinary, or other grounds, much more qualified to assess the accusations against me, ruled out. Well, one of the fathers of critical race theory, which was pointed out methodologically relevant to my discipline, Richard Delgado, was disqualified from being a member of the investigative committee based on two factors. One, he hadn't had the most cordial relationship with the administration of the University of Colorado while he was teaching here, and therefore might be inclined to rule against the university's interests. I didn't know that was a criteria for what the findings were supposed to be. This is an objective fact-finding body, but not catering to the interests of the university as defined by the administration wasn't one of the criteria. The other reason stated why he was inappropriate to be seated was because he had obligations elsewhere and might therefore not be able to make all of the investigative committee meetings. Okay? Fairly clear. You can quibble with it, you can agree with it, you can disagree with it, but no matter what you want to do with it, you can't square it up to the fact that then proceeded to appoint a literature professor down at the University of Texas by the name of Jose Limon, known as the administration's secret weapon against Chicano studies at that institution, to a seat on the investigative committee. My field is not English literature, nor is it Chicano studies. But that latter, if he was actually a scholar, it would be closer. Jose Limon was unable to make a single meeting of the investigative committee, but that didn't disqualify him. The chair, selected from the law school, right over there, Fleming was still Fleming at the time, was selected on the basis of being a former prosecutor who was approached to be on the investigative committee and agreed to do so only on the basis that she be appointed the chair of the committee. Once again, I will say that the rules state that the investigative committee will be an impartial, fact-finding body. I asked Mamie Wesson on the first day of the investigative proceedings, well, one, what standards are going to be used in the assessment? She couldn't tell me. And two, how should I frame my responses to the investigative committee and the questions that they posed? And her answer, you should consider yourself in the position of a defendant in a criminal proceeding. Impartial, objective, fact-finding body. No, this is, well, another word that's in here is non-adversarial. This is specifically adversarial framing. That's the judicial process. The criminal process is an adversarial process. And it's proceeded that way. The committee was run that way. The process here was such that I was entitled to legal defense, but my lawyer could not frame a single question by way of cross-examination. No point in him being there. My own questions could not be posed verbally in the investigative hearings. Various witnesses, including my own, would be brought. Okay, the committee members could interact verbally. Me, volume of publication notwithstanding, I typed like this. Okay? I had to sit and type in such questions as I wanted posed and email them across the room to the committee chair, the prosecuting attorney, who would then pose them, revising as she felt appropriate, to the point where the questions sometimes were the opposite of themselves, and it completely discombobulated witnesses. Got people who went on record in the subsequent proceedings that said that it was virtually impossible to figure out what they were supposed to say because they weren't quite sure what the question was, because they were being qualified by an intermediate party. And if I wanted further clarification on a point they raised, well, it's, at this rate, there would be no real possibility.